Welcome to this week's chat where we will take a look at our excuse making habits. Before we begin, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise yourself that you will not beat yourself up for anything that you were not aware of. Often, when we dive into certain topics, we can fall into the trap of shouldn'ts. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't talk like that. I shouldn't have done that. But that's not the goal of growing our awareness like we're doing here. The goal is to know better so that we can do better. So repeat it to yourself. I promise to show myself the grace and forgive myself for the things I was not aware of. And congratulate yourself. I am proud of myself for showing up to grow my awareness so that I can do better moving forward. Let's dive in. So first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Melanie, and I'm here today as your life coach. My goal is to help you find clarity, break free from your self-imposed limitations, and create the life that you desire. I chose this path because years ago, I felt completely lost. I felt defeated, depressed, anxiety and panic-ridden. I had no idea who I was as a person. All I knew was that I didn't like who I was, and I had no idea how to climb out of the dark hole that I was in. When I hired my first coach, everything shifted. This sounds dramatic, but it's true. Within a few weeks, I could feel myself changing for the better. Today, I continue to grow my own awareness. I want to share what I've learned, and I want to provide you with the same ladder my coach gave me, which allowed me to climb out of the darkness and into the light, into joy, into my purpose, and into my best self. So let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you were supposed to do something, either because you chose to do it or because someone asked it of you, and then caught yourself saying one of these statements to the other person or to yourself? I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. But I need to. I'll do that when I have the money. I'll do it when I have the time. Yeah, I would love to do that, but I just can't yet. So let's go through them quickly. Maybe you said, I'm not ready. Maybe you wanted to publish an article, but you just couldn't seem to press that publish button because you're just not ready, or the article isn't quite done. Right? Maybe you're aiming for your best time in an event, but are finding yourself training less and less because you're just not good enough. Maybe you've created a gorgeous painting and you're wanting to share it with the world, but you just need to add a few finishing touches, and then a few more, and then you need to add your signature, and then you need to do this, right? That's that, but I need to. Like I said, I'll do that when I have the money. I'll do it when I have the time. Yeah, I would love to do that, but I have responsibilities. Yeah, I want to help others, but I just can't find the time. I want to change careers, but just not right now, right? If you've said any of these, no judgment. Remember, you promised. Accept the truth, be aware of it, and move on. We're on this journey not to beat ourselves up about something we weren't aware of. Remember, we're always doing the best that we can with our current level of awareness. So why are we chatting about excuses? Because excuses are a form of self-sabotage. It hinders our growth. It hinders our success and the achievement of our goals. Do you ever feel like something is just holding you back? Right? This could be it. When we're constantly making excuses, we are essentially finding reasons or justifications for not taking responsibility for our actions or not putting in the effort required to overcome challenges or obstacles. Creating excuses often puts the power in someone else's hands or outside circumstances. And everything outside of you is out of your control. So why place energy there? The only person you can control is yourself. Therefore, you have no choice but to take responsibility if you want anything to change. So, what exactly are excuses? They are an attempt to lessen the blame on ourselves, on others, on situations or circumstances. So, let's go back and take a look at some of these common excuses. When we face a new situation, whether we want them or not, we may find ourselves using the excuse that I'm not ready. This is our attempt to cling on to what we know. We're clinging on to the status quo. It's us resisting to the change that moves us forward. But the truth is, almost no one feels ready for the next step in their lives. They just decide that the desire for the change is greater than the fear. Right? Whenever there's a change coming, most of us will have that feeling of, oh shit, right? But eventually we need to make the decision. Do we step into the fear and get past that fear and get to where we want to go? Or do we retreat and everything stays the same? Right? And this is where that self-sabotaging can come from or come in. The next one. Most of us feel inadequate or underqualified at times. However, when we allow that thought to take over and be louder than all other thoughts, that's when chaos strikes. I'm not good enough. Right? That's the excuse we hand out. But the more that we repeat it to ourselves and to others, the more we believe it to be the truth. So then, because we're repeating it, because we're believing it to be true, then we're going to find evidence to back up our belief. You see the cycle, right? You're going to say it so often, you're starting to believe it, and now you're going to find the evidence to prove that it's true. And then because you saw that it's true, you're going to believe it even more, dish out more of the truth, and the cycle continues. It's important to remember that thoughts are things, and we have the power to choose the thoughts that we focus our energy on. The next one, but I need money. I need time. I need a different life. I need different circumstances. And this list can go on. But the truth is, we need to take action now because we won't ever feel like we have everything we need to get started. It's in the process that we gather what we need. When we use this one, we're choosing to believe that we don't have what it takes to do X, Y, Z. Right? We need to take action on what we have now and gather what we need along the way. Maybe you have been guilty of saying this one. I'll do that when I have the money. I'll do that when I have the time, when the right circumstances show up. And this one resembles a little like the last excuse I mentioned. But here we're tapping into procrastination, telling ourselves that one day when everything lines up perfectly, then we're going to move forward. But this perfect day never actually arrives. We have to decide that the moment we're currently living actually is the perfect moment, right? I know I was guilty of this one, wanting everything to be lined up perfectly and just waiting for everything to just be perfect. But that perfect day never showed up. I had to start showing up and taking action no matter what day it was or what the circumstances looked like. Because I was the one creating the moment. And then there's the excuse of, yeah, but. This one can show up whenever we're trying to stay in our own head and in our current predicament. So there's a problem, someone offers a solution. The answer is, yeah, but, and the reasons are listed. Another option is presented, yeah, that would work, but, and the reasons are listed. This form of excuse stops all growth and attempts at finding tangible solutions. And an example that I'd come up with was, it's like someone digging a hole in the sand with a fork. So can you imagine somebody is at the beach and they have a little plastic fork and they're trying to dig a hole in the sand, right? So you go up and you're like, hey, I see you're using a fork. You might want to try to use your hand instead. And the person might say, yeah, that would work, but I would rather use an object. Okay. You might want to use a spoon. Might work better. Yeah, that would work, but this is okay. Right? Someone offers up a shovel. Yeah, that would work as well, but this is working. You see how silly that would seem? As an outsider, picturing this in my mind, if I'm sitting there trying to dig with a fork and somebody's offering up all these tangible solutions, and I'm doing what? I'm just going to keep trying to dig a hole with my fork. I am avoiding all solutions, possible solutions, just to stay in my own head, to stay in my current predicament of, man, this is hard. Because most likely, if I'm the one digging a hole or trying to dig a hole with a fork, I'm going to be cussing a little bit because this fork is not going to be working. Right? But I'm just going to stay in my negative space of this isn't working. Right? Now, while I listed this again, did you recognize yourself in any of these? Like I said, I know I'm guilty of using these excuses more than once and on multiple occasions. However, now that I'm aware of this habit, and due to the work that I've been doing on myself, I can catch myself now when I start dipping into this habit. I hear it now when I'm starting these excuses. I can then stop myself and I can flip it and take responsibility for what I want. So let's take a look at some of the reasons why addressing this form of self-sabotage is important. One, making excuses can help us avoid responsibility. By making excuses, we shift the blame away from ourselves and onto external factors, on other circumstances, on people, and this prevents us from acknowledging our role in a situation and taking ownership of our actions, which can impede our personal development and improvement. So when we're making excuses, we're avoiding all responsibility. It's like this little guy over here with his hat about like over his eyes, walking around. You're just avoiding it all. What good is that? Next, excuses can also become barriers to progress. Instead of addressing problems or challenges head on and working to overcome them, we may use excuses as a way to justify staying within our comfort zones and not pushing ourselves to grow or to change. Everything's going to stay the same that way. Continuously making excuses can erode self-confidence and self-esteem. When we don't take responsibility for our actions or our outcomes, we start to doubt our abilities, leading to a negative impact on our self-image. Excuses often lead to missed opportunities because we're avoiding that progress, right? If we use excuses to avoid trying new things or taking on challenges, we may never experience personal growth or discover our true potential. Excuse me. Constantly making excuses can strain relationships. People may become frustrated or lose trust in us because we're habitually avoiding taking responsibility for our actions. Making excuses can reinforce negative patterns or behaviors. If we continually tell ourselves that we cannot achieve something due to external factors, we might not even attempt to reach our goals, inadvertently fulfilling our own negative beliefs. And we've talked about this, the loop, right? We reinforce the negative patterns, we end up with the same negative results, we're fulfilling the negative beliefs, and then we're reinforcing the patterns. Patterns results in the beliefs, they just keep on going. And then excuses prevent us from holding ourselves accountable for our actions, our choices, and behaviors. Without accountability, it becomes difficult to learn from mistakes and grow as a person. So the excuses are just they're holding you in a box. They're not allowing you to move forward. They're not allowing you to go after new opportunities. They're not allowing you to grow as a person. They're just holding you still. It's like the first dude that had, a ball chained to his leg. It's just holding us back. I love this quote. Stop making excuses. You're the only one stopping you. You're the one standing in your way. And as I talk to you, I'm talking to myself as well. We're the only ones who are stopping ourselves from growing. We're the only ones who are holding us back. We are the ones in charge of ourselves. Now, this form of self-sabotage, just like the others we have chatted about so far, all require the same first steps to overcome them. We must be aware of the habit. Once we realize that we're in control of ourselves, we're in control of our thoughts, our habits, our goals, we step into our power. Excuses are obstacles that we are choosing to place on our path, but we have the choice to place them there in the first place or not. Imagine yourself hiking up a mountain. Are you going to choose to put a boulder in your way? Just because, it might be fun to try and get over this. No. I know I wouldn't. So why would I put a boulder in the way of me and my goal? I want to leave you with a few helpful tips to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for your life. First, start taking note of when you notice yourself falling back on your excuses. Right? Be aware of it. If you have to, start jotting it down. Notice when you're doing it. Next, ask yourself good questions. What is the reason behind your excuses? Why are you dishing them out? What's going on? And if you have to, go back to when I broke them down, right? What is going on behind the excuse? And next, you need to decide what it is that you want. Do you want to stay where you currently are? Do you want to allow those excuses to hold you back? Or do you want to break free and do you want to move forward? And then establish a growth mindset with the help of a coach like myself. Hiring a coach is one of the most important, if not the most important thing that you could do for yourself. It's the most important investment you will ever make in yourself. And when I say that this work changes everything, I mean it. Due to my own growth and my own work, I've not only become the person I knew I could be, but I now mom better, I wife better, I sister better, I daughter better, I teach better. I show up better. This work seeps into every single aspect of my life. And it's so much better now. Better seems like such a silly word, but it's so true. I show up in all aspects of my life in a different way now because I am growing myself. I am growing my awareness. And I feel in control of myself. So when you're ready to chat about what it is that you want in your life, scan this QR code and book your free 30-minute discovery call with me. Thank you for showing up for yourself today and growing your awareness with me.